Hello everybody, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. In this video we'll be talking about Carlos BALEBA's price being set for his move to Manchester United and what that means for United. We'll be talking about other midfield targets as well. We've got some news on Mazraoui returning for the Arsenal game, as well as Michael Carrick potentially staying at the club beyond his contract at the club. So we'll be going through all that news. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as you always do. So I want to start off by talking about Carlos BALEBA. A price has been set. So this is what's been said. Obviously BALEBA is one of the main target for Manchester United in the midfield. They chased him heavily last summer. And United are understood to be less concerned than some supporters with BALEBA's dip in form so far this season. His displays at the African Cup of Nations, the Cameroon provide a timely reminder for his abilities. Brighton have made all the right noises about not selling the 22-year-old, but around the league there's a feeling that Brighton will cash in come June, and there will be a move for a price tag north of 60 million, likely to be closer to 75 million. The article goes on to say Adam Wharton is closely being monitored by Liverpool, and Man City as well are heavily interested in Elliot Anderson as well, and he will be looking at sort of his options, whether that's Champions League football, before making a move. So listen, we know United are in desperate need of a midfielder or midfielders. Now, what has kind of been said on that is United obviously do fancy BALEBA, and we know about the kind of intention they had last season to go out and get him. Now I think this is a move, regardless of the manager, is a Wilcox, Barada, Vivell sort of signing. They want to bring him in regardless on who the manager is. And I think the manager will accept BALEBA. I think he's a talented player, and yes, his performances haven't been great this season, but the fact that United are not concerned with his performances, I mean, this is a desire for them that they've wanted to bring in BALEBA for a while, and I do believe he will be the guy to come in. Now, in terms of price, I do expect it to be, as it said in the article, around £75 million. But again, I think all three of those midfielders will move, all three that Manchester United have been linked to. Now, in my opinion, I would go out and get two of those top three midfielders. Again, but it all depends. I think BALEBA out of the three is most likely to join Manchester United. The one that I would want the most would obviously be Carlos. The one that I want the most is Elliot Anderson. I think he would offer more to Manchester United than anyone else. The concern would be about BALEBA is he is still someone who needs a lot of developing. And yes, a lot of his performances haven't been great this season. I don't know whether that's due to external pressure, but hopefully when he does come to Manchester United, he would be able to mature. And he's someone who's really pushing the move. He's similar to sort of a Cunha in Burma in that fact, with the fact that he wants to join Manchester United. There has been talks from like Bayern Munich and stuff in the January window, but he has his intention of joining Manchester United. So I think that is the deal that will happen. Now, in terms of the price, again, I kind of agree with that price. Obviously, Brighton are going to want apparently no close to what they got for Caicedo, which I don't think any club's going to offer them. And I think, being realistic, they don't deserve to get that because his performances haven't been that great this season, if we're being honest. Again, I wouldn't be concerned either about the drop in performances. I think ultimately that does happen when you are kind of... Well, I don't think he was expecting the move, but he probably did have his kind of intention set. But listen, BALEBA for me, he's a decent midfielder, and I wouldn't mind him joining Manchester United. I think he would improve the team, but you have to be prepared for a lot of up and down performances. You have to remember he is 21, and yes, he does have Premier League experience and that sort of quality, but he is someone who's still learning his trade. And out of the three midfielders, I think he's the least sort of developed out of the three. I think there is potential there. There's a lot of potential there with BALEBA, but if you look at Anderson and Wharton, the two more complete midfielders. Now, on those two again, I think Anderson, he's going to weigh up his options. He's going to have the most options, I believe. He's going to have Arsenal, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, your Chelseas. Like every big Premier League club will be interested in Anderson. The same too for Wharton if he's on the move from Palace. Whereas you look at someone like an Elliot Anderson, a Carlos BALEBA, the only talks that have really been with him and Manchester United. So I think he will join the club. I'm excited. Listen, he's a top player. We're going to get behind him and hope he does have a good career if he does join Manchester United, but he would be the most likely player at this current moment to join the club, and the price has been set of around £75 million. So that's kind of a huge transfer update there. It was an interesting article. He talked about other options as well that we can bring in. But again, I think if I had to make a prediction, I think United would guaranteed get BALEBA. I think, in my opinion, I think they will. I think the talks have been coming out. The fact that United pushed hard last summer, is a Vavel Wilcox signing. They want to bring him in. I think United will get him. On Wharton and Anderson, I don't really know. I'm not 100%, but I know, I think, and I do really think BALEBA will come to the club. And I think he's a talented player, but there is still a lot of work to do with him there. Now, on some other interesting news, Nusayr Mazraoui was, well, not interesting, but positive news. Mazraoui was spotted with the squad travelling to Arsenal, which is a huge boost. I would go and throw him straight in. He played, he'd had a few days to train. And yeah, I would just put him into the team straight away. I think he would add a lot to this team, and I think he would massively improve United's backline in a game like this. So that's it on Mazraoui. Listen, a new contract offer has been re-aided for Manu, one that gave him parity with his other teammate, and he's expected to remain a big part of next season plans, regardless of who the next manager is. With his number one fan, Michael Carrick, currently at the helm, Manu will give plenty of time on the pitch to show everyone he is worth the hype. What I would also say on Kobbie Mainoo is the fact that Manchester United want to build the squad around him. So yeah, I think he's definitely someone to kind of look at and their future about, really, because for me he's a talented player. And I think he's someone who would add a lot to this team, and we've seen it glimpses against City. Hopefully we can see a lot more of that as well. And listen, there's a lot of pressure apparently on Ineos and the likes of director of football Jason Wilcox and Christopher Vavel to get this midfield overhaul right. With United falling in the Money League and paying the price of the season without Europe, they can't afford to make rash decisions. I think that's right. Listen, if we have to, I don't like giving them any credit because I don't think they've done positive for this football club on the whole, but I think they did get recruitment right this season, I think, in large part. I think we did need a midfielder. I think that was obvious, but in the way in which they went about the recruitment for the attack, go and getting in Burmo, yes, he did want to join the club, but he did have a lot of interest from others, and I think the structure of that deal was right. The same with Cunha and Sesko as well. I think the prices could have been a bit better, but in the way in which they went about that overhaul was better. In terms of kind of this season, the midfield is obviously the priority. You want to bring two top quality midfielders in, whether that's Anderson, Wharton, BALEBA, whether that's bringing in someone like João Gomez, Bawadi, Tyler Adams. But again, we know Casemiro is going to be leaving. I expect Ugarte to leave as well. We will need a massive midfield overhaul, and it's down to Ineos to get that move right. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is Carrick potentially staying at Manchester United. So, an air and uncertainty surrounds Michael Carrick's Manchester United sporting department, and rightly so. The decision to retain and back Erik ten Hag before sacking him laid the foundation for the calamity of Ruben Amorim's tenure. With the next permanent manager appointment the most significant decision of their reign, the intention remains to wait until the summer when a range of top-class coaches will become available. However, if Michael Carrick succeeds in galvanising the first team and supporter base and secures Champions League football, there is an expectation of inevitable pressure from fans to retain his services. Now, what I want to say on that, listen, I don't care if Carrick wins the Prem. I don't want Carrick to be the guy to lead us forward, just based on the fact that we've been down that road before. We've got the ex-player in on an interim. They've done well, and then we've seen how that turns out. I think Carrick knows his job, and he will know himself if he does do well. There will be pressure on him, and he will probably want the job. But what I would say about Carrick is, listen, he's a legend of the club, and someone who's adored by the fans. And he's had a good one game. But depending on how the rest of the season goes, I wouldn't want him to be the permanent manager, in my opinion. I don't think it's the right decision to make. And I think it would be a sign of poor decision making by Ineos. Now, hopefully, and what has been reported, that they don't have the intention to do that anyway, regardless of what Carrick does. He's not going to get the permanent job, and apparently that was one of the reasons why they went with Carrick over Solskjaer in the first place. But he will know if he does well, there will be a lot of pressure on him. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below on the news. Let me know your thoughts on BALEBA, what your thoughts is. Would you want him to join the club, and the likelihood of that happening? Again, I've gone through the news. Let me know your thoughts on Anderson, Wharton as well. Who do you want to bring in? As well as obviously Mazraoui being back. Do you throw me straight into the starting 11? I would. But again, it's very unlikely. That has been the 7 PM update.